Hey guys, what's up? It's Ben. Welcome to this new series where we compare two different films of the same source material in an epic battle. You know, it's all that good stuff. Well, you know, it's not really an epic battle. But today's episode, we're going to be comparing the French book La Fantôme des Opéras by Gaston Leroy, I don't know what it's called, requested by your favorite Slorg, Censored Sloth. But the twist is, I don't care about the book. Books are stupid. Today we're actually focusing on the 1925 version of the film and comparing it to the 2004 predecessor. Let's quickly go through the plot. So the story takes place in the 1870s in the 2004 version of the film, and the 1880s in the 1925. I will add that the 2004 version of the film has parts that take place in 1919, but we'll get to that later. Let's begin with the shorted film's plot first, so on to 1925 as we go. In this version of the film, we begin with a man with a lantern under the Paris Opera House in the catacombs. It's actually unknown what his character's role was. His dialogue was either cut or lost in the 1920s with a mix-up with a sound film and other stuff, I guess. Following the Lantern Man, we go to the upper parts of the Opera House where there is a full house coming to watch the performance. It's like a grand thing, you know, like everybody's coming and all that stuff. At the same time, we see the Opera House is getting purchased by two new owners, something we see both of the versions of the film. And they're warned about the Phantom, and they just laugh it off, like, So the old owner says that there's a person called the Phantom, and he tells the guys that, and they laugh. And whenever he's about to leave, the old owner says the person outside box 5 won't laugh if you ask about the Phantom. So they get up, and then we see the Phantom, and it's scary. They go to box 5, and they go in, they see him there, they walk out, they're all scared and stuff, then they walk back in, and he's gone, he's disappeared. So, the performance finishes, and Raoul, one of our main characters, goes to see Christine, because, you know, they're in love, and then Christine exclaims how she hears voices in the walls. After it ends, you see a man messing with a rope when a whole bunch of girls come down swearing they had seen the Phantom. A mysterious man who later we'll talk about comes down the stairs. The guys and the girls then go to a guy who had seen the Phantom but ask if it had been true, which turns out that some girls had correct theories, if you know what I mean. Then it goes back to the new guys who own the Opera House, and blah 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 blah. Some lady, Carletta, storms into the room. I think it's actually her mother, and it shows the owners that this letter that she had received, or her daughter had received from the Fanta, saying Christine Daan will be performing in her role. Now, in the 2004 version of the film, Christine's like this girl who has daddy issues that lives in the Opera House, and it's we'll get to that, I guess. Then a card appears saying that Carletta had strangely fallen ill and Christina would be performing. Carletta then receives another letter from the Phantom, but nobody cares. Like, Carletta's a stupid character, but you know what? We'll talk about her character more in the future. But Carletta then defies the Phantom's request later on, and the Phantom gets angry and drops a whole chandelier on the Opera House, like it goes psh. We then see Raoul run into the mysterious man in all the fiasco, and he gets a little sus, like not like, you know, not like Among Us sus, but like sus. And Raoul goes into Christine's dressing room where she is kidnapped by the Phantom. The Phantom then puts her in her bed, and I don't know if that's supposed to like symbolize sex in the 1920s, because, you know, there's a lot of symbolism in those older films that, you know, it's censored. Censored Sloth. Censored Sloth is stupid. Follow Uncensored Sloth, the better version. And then Christine wakes up and we see the legendary unmasking of the Phantom scene. The Phantom gets angry but doesn't hurt Christine, and he says that she will be his slave forever. And then she claims she will never see Raoul again. which is kind of amazing. Except for in the 2004 version, because Patrick Wilson is, oh yeah, daddy. But little did the Phantom know, she is lying. Christine then writes to Raoul to meet her at the ball mask at the following evening. The ball mask, of course, is where Phantom finds out that Christine is a liar. Now, let me talk about this ball mask scene really quick, because it's so amazing what happened there. It's actually like the first official color in film. Like, the whole thing they did was pretty cool. Like, they used negative colors and then they had positive colors and then it made one real colored film. So, of course, yeah, the ball mask begins, and the Phantom finds out Christine is a liar. Christine and Raoul then go up to the roof to go talk, and the Phantom eavesdrops, and he hears their plan. Raoul and Christine then go downstairs where they meet that mysterious man that we talked about earlier from the beginning of the film, and he points them where to go so the Phantom won't find them. Christine tells Raoul that she will perform one last time. We then go to the stage crew where we see the Phantom had murdered on somebody's brother named Joseph. Rest in peace, Joseph. I'll send you flowers, I guess. The show then goes on, but you find out our boy the Phantom ain't having that, and he killed the head musical wand guy. I know what he's called, but when I was writing the script, I forgot. But yeah, he's a conductor. The lights then go out, and Christine, she's gone. She's kidnapped. So this mysterious man, we find out, is a secret policeman who had been following the Phantom for months. He teams up with Raoul, and they go down to the catacombs to, find out what the Phantom's up to. While they're searching, the Phantom convinces Christine to love him, which is kind of weird. The two dudes fall into a mirror trap. They don't fall in love, sadly, because this is the 1920s, but they can't find their way out. The Phantom then enters the catacombs and he hears a riot, and he R2-D2s into the water, like, Empire Strikes Back, and he knocks over a boat and kills the people inside. The Phantom returns and plays the organ until Christine gets mad at him or something, and he hears the two dudes. The Phantom floods the room that the two dudes escaped in, because at this point they had escaped the room with mirrors, and now they're in a room with a whole bunch of gunpowder. But that room starts flooding because the Phantom's an evil dude. And then the mom comes in and makes the Phantom run, and he gets in a carriage and he steals Christine, and then at some point Christine falls out, but then the mob chases him down and kills him. Now, it might sound like I'm taking a huge dump on this version of the film, but that is actually not correct, because I think this is a far superior movie to most modern day films. It has great character writing and character development for a film from 1925. So take my harshness with a grain of salt, and that ends the 1925 version of the film. Now, let's talk about the differences between this and the 2004. So the 2004 version begins in black and white. I guess it's like to homage the 1925 and possibly the 1940s Claude Rains version. And so we're in 1919, where there's an auction where Raoul and Christine's friend, who's very irrelevant to the plot, are there. And this whole sequence contains, a monkey box we see in the film, and then a chandelier, which I guess is for sale, but who'd want to buy that? The chandelier is unveiled and an epic score kicks in, the Overture, which is one of my favorite musical movie scores of all time. It's beautiful, the organs punch, it has a very popish feel, and I think it's a really nice opening to like the film, because it has like its cold open, I guess, and then it just goes up. So this film begins pretty much the same. There's new owners and whatnot, and then in this one it's a little weird because Christine thinks it's her dad, but it's not. She thinks that he had blessed her with like a ghost of music to watch over her and whatnot, but I guess that's not what happens. But the film pretty much plays exactly the same, but there's actually this really cool cemetery sword battle scene and the chandelier actually gets dropped further on in the film than the previous aforementioned film. But let's go talk about some of my favorite or main parts to talk about from this film. So first of all, it's the Phantom. The 1925 Phantom of the Opera has one of the greatest performances, in my personal opinion, of the silent film decade. I know it's not a decade, but you know what, just let it happen. But it's Lon Chaney. He does an amazing job of portraying the Phantom, and his makeup is done flawlessly. It still can send chills down somebody's spine just from seeing the unmasking scene in The Phantom is beautiful. And comparing that to the new Phantom, I don't know who it's played by, nor do I really care. But the new one's not that creepy. He's made out to be a character you like. Well, that you're supposed to like, I guess you should say. He gets an origin story, which is kind of stupid. He's like from American Horror Story. He's from the carnival, and then the girl who's at the auction's mother helped him escape and whatnot, but the blah blah blah. Just go watch the movie to figure out what happened. I'm gonna sneeze. Alright, then let's talk about the cast. Mary Philbin, she was in another great silent film that I have not yet seen, but I would like to, is The Man Who Laughs. And it's pretty good acting for the 1920s, and I give her as much applause as I'd give the people from the modern day cast, which we will go to now. The modern day cast features two amazing actors and actresses that I think are pretty much underrated. We're talking about Emmy Rossum and Patrick Wilson. Now, Emmy Rossum has been in her most notable role is in Shameless, and she does a really great job as the lead female, and I really think that she does a superb job compared to Mary Philbin. I think they bounce off of each other pretty well, and I think Emmy Rossum was just a really good pick for the role of Christine. Now we'll talk about Raoul. I don't know who played Raoul in the 1925 version, but in the 2004 version, Sir Patrick Wilson, he's not actually a sir, just ignore that, but Patrick Wilson does an amazing job as Raoul. He does sword battles and other stuff. It's just so fun to see somebody who is so synonymous with the horror, the modern day horror, that you can really just it just makes you happy to see that that's how it is now. And besides that, I don't think the casts are very outstanding besides those people, but those four people, the Lon Chaney, Mary Philbin, Emmy Rossum, and Patrick Wilson, they make these films, and without them, then it just wouldn't be what they are now. But now with the music, obviously the 1925 film is just filled with music, and it's pretty okay because all the different versions have different music, but we got this. And then with the 2004 version, if you're not a fan of musicals, there's a lot of music. Like, a lot of the musical sequences take over 10 minutes to go through, which is the biggest pain of watching these films. But, if you can stand a musical, then they are great. Like I said, the overture is beautiful. It has like this little melody that is played throughout the film, and it's carried, like it carries the story. Like, the Phantom's there just by hearing this little musical cue, and it is beautiful. Now, our final topic is going to be the characters. The characters are pretty much written the same, but if I had to pick favorites, it's going to be the 1925 version, but the 2004 version of the characters are actually done very well. I feel like characters are very likable. They're not bad. The characters are not bad by any means, but they just don't carry the same weight as the 1925 version. So, in the end, obviously I like the in the end, so obviously I like the 1925 version more because it's more synonymous with horror, but I give Phantom of the Opera from 2004 a 4 out of 5 stars, just because it's a very good musical, and I think it can carry itself a lot better than a lot of the other Phantom of the Opera works. Like the Claude Rains one just isn't as good as either. Just from the plot, I haven't seen it, but the plot, nah, we're not going to talk about it. But yeah, that's pretty much Phantom of the Opera. And if you guys like this video, make sure you like, subscribe. Yeah, I recommend it.